Hello everyone, CoinHound here. I recently bought 34 pounds of pre-1982 pennies. Why in the world would I do that? All right, so in that previous video, I had noted that with the recent rise in commodity prices, the metal value of a nickel was exceeding its face value. Nickel is made up of, I believe, 75% copper, 25% nickel, and the value of a nickel's metals at the time of my video was about 8 or 9 cents. In the past, when this has happened with U.S. coinage, the government has ultimately decided to change the metal composition so that they're not spending more to produce a coin than that coin is ultimately going to be worth in face value. And so the basic logic I was laying out, and this isn't original to me, there's other people that have done YouTube videos on the topic, but basically the idea is that it seems likely that if these values maintain over time, that the United States government at some point is going to change the composition of the nickel. And when they do that, you're going to basically have two types of nickels. They're both going to have the same face value of 5 cents, but one type of nickel, the newer metal composition, will have a face value of 5 cents, and its metal composition will be worth something less than 5 cents. And you'll have the older nickels with a 5-cent face value, but they'll have a metal composition that'll be worth something above 5 cents. And so this is leading people to think that what could unfold in the future is going to be very similar as to what happened to silver coinage in the United States in the past. Back before 1965, I guess 1964 and before, many American coins were made out of 90% silver. Your dime, your quarter, your half dollar, your dollar, and that was what gave them their value. But it did reach a point where the value of the silver itself, became worth more than the face value of the coin. And that was due to some combination of the value of silver going up and the value of American fiat dollar going down, devaluing over time, as it has pretty consistently done. And so, of course, they changed the composition of the coins, and you had two sets of coins, the silver ones and the newer ones that weren't silver, and people began to pull the silver ones off the market into their possession, and a separate marketplace developed for those older silver coins. A separate marketplace in which those coins were bought, sold, and traded based on their melt value rather than their face value. And I haven't looked at the numbers lately, but in recent weeks, the metal value for those old coins is something like 20 to 24 times the face value. So if you have an old silver dime, it's going to be worth $2 or $2.40 in its metal content. To get one, you might have to pay a little bit more. So the idea is, hey, maybe something similar will happen with nickels. So if you have a bunch of nickels put aside, you may be able to get more than you paid for them down the road. And I argued that that was a type of stacking. That, as the value of the fiat money decreased, the face value of those nickels would decrease also, but the metal value would hold its value, and you would be able to get something back. Now, something similar had also happened with copper pennies, which is the topic of our video today. The copper pennies in the early 1980s found themselves in a situation, I believe they were 95% copper, where the value of the copper was worth more than the face value of the coin. So the United States government changed the metal composition of the penny. And I'm not aware of the secondary market that developed for these old pennies being quite as robust and popular as it is for the 90% silver coins. But nevertheless, it is out there. You can go on eBay and buy rolls of old pennies. And even if they have no collectible value as far as numismatics, you're going to pay more than their face value for them. Okay. And so I decided I'm going to get me some pennies. And I came across this item on the Money Metals Exchange, who I occasionally order from. They're a precious metals exchange, precious metals coins and the like. And they had a deal, or not a deal, but it's just a product, where they were selling 34 pounds of pre-1982 pennies for, I should have looked, it was either $165 or $167, something like that. Okay. And at the time, the melt value was, I believe, $152 for just the metal composition. So there was about, a $10 to $15 premium on that. And a much, 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 much smaller percentage premium that you would pay on like a 1 ounce copper round. And so I figured I'm going to get one of these. All right. That's 160 something bucks. I think it'd be cool to have a bunch of pennies. I'm going to get it. I'll put it aside, and the stuff I bought for $160, who knows, maybe 20, 30 years from now, maybe it'll be worth $350. In a worst case scenario, it would always be worth the face value. And so I've switched the screen over here to a website where you can figure out the melt value of various coins. It's coinapps.com, but you can just put in Google copper penny melt calculator, and this and some other ones will come up. And as you can see on the screen here, it's on the left-hand side, you can enter the amount of pennies that you have. These would be pre-1982 pennies, 95% copper. You can enter the number of pennies you have, the number of rolls, the face value, ounces, pounds are down further below. And I just put in 1 penny so you can see what the current value is. And you can see over here in the red at the bottom right, a current value for 1 pre-1982 penny in melt value is basically 3 cents. So it's worth 3 times the face value. And so when I was thinking about buying these pennies, I did enter them in. I was just very curious as to what kind of premium there would be. So 34 pounds of pennies, you can see here that's worth $151.08 today. I think back when I made the purchase a few weeks back, it was I think it was a little bit more, maybe 152 or 3, but it hasn't changed dramatically. And as I said, it resulted in, just a ballpark of a $15 premium. And so that's pretty cool. And then the other thing I was curious about is, okay, I've got this bag of pennies. How many pennies are there in there? And so I had to do a little research on how much one of the pre-1982 pennies weighed, and then figure out, therefore, how many of those would be in 34 pounds. And basically the calculation comes out to 4,959 pounds. And you can double check that on here by removing the pound entry and going up to the single number of pennies. And I put in 4,959, and I get the 150,108. Okay. So in theory, my bag has 4,959 pennies in it. And I have not opened up this bag yet, so I'm going to open it up right now and see what I got in there. It's got a little plastic tie on there that I'll have to cut, and then we'll see what's in the bag. Now, first off, I should note that I don't have any formal connection to the Money Metals Exchange. I'm not sponsored by them, paid by them, receive no benefits from them. So I am just sharing my experiences here. I have done some dealings with them in the past, a few different orders. I have found them to do a good job. All right, so let's manipulate this. Now, this is super heavy. So I've got some stuff in the back there, pardon my mess. And I got to bring my scissors in here to open this up. And we'll see what we got. If I can get this cut. There we go. Okay. So, let's stand this bag up. Let's open this up and let's see what we have. Okay. We've got all kinds of pennies here. Let's move the camera down a little bit. There you go. All right. So I'm not going to pour them all out because I'll just have to try and get them all back into the bag again. But there you have it. A whole slew of pennies. And let's just check a few of these, and 1977, so that's pre-1982. Well, 1981, pre-1982. Here's one, a little bit more red on this one. 1979. Okay, so I'm not going to go through a whole slew of these, obviously. I can only take it on trust that they have properly collated these so that there are no modern pennies in there. 1978. 1970 maybe. Hard to get that focused. So seems a lot of them are from the 70s, at least a few that I've checked. I didn't expect there'd be any old wheat pennies or anything in there. That's another different marketplace. So anyways, there you have it. Just a few of the 4,959 pennies I bought that I'm going to tuck away on a shelf. And I'll check back in on them again, maybe in 5 or 10 years to see where those values are. And we'll go from there. Okay. And if you have an interest in this product, it was the Money Metals Exchange. They are based in Idaho, I believe. And you can go ahead and check their website and go under the copper section, and you should be able to find it. I'm glad I did it. I think it's kind of cool. And now I've got, I actually ended up buying another box of nickels. So I've got 4,000 nickels and 4,959 pennies, in addition to my normal silver and gold coins and rounds that I have. So trying to diversify as much as possible. All right. Hope you enjoyed this video. Till next time, this is CoinHound signing out.